Hi Nanuet, welcome to Night's News. I'm Natalie.
I'm Sophia.
And there has been a pretty exciting early 2019 for Nanuet. So what did we start with, Sophia?
Indeed. Well, in February we had Spirit Week, so let's go take a look at that. Did you participate in any Spirit Week events?
Sadly, I was not able to.
Would you want to next year?
Maybe.
Do you get excited by Spirit, or do you just want it to be over?
Both. I'm excited until Wednesday, and then Wednesday and on, I'm like, no.
The results of Spirit Week end up surprising you.
No. Well, our grade, the juniors, is very, we come together a lot, and they really, wanted it, their passion, and how good our grade is at sports, I guess.
What did you think of the lower classmen and their competition?
I thought it was kind of funny. The freshmen did so much better, they did better than the sophomores.
Do you think there's a chance for 2020 next year?
Yeah, I think there's a chance.
This Spirit Week was a pretty interesting one. And what do you, as a senior, have to say about the competition, the results, anything of that sort?
I think a lot of the games and stuff were really exciting. And, it's obviously disappointing since it's senior year and we didn't win. But, looking back on it, it was just a fun experience.
What is your favorite activity when it comes to Spirit Week, when it comes to the dress-up days and activity?
Favorite dress-up day, Spirit Day, because I wear my little orange tutu. Favorite activity, volleyball. It's just so much fun to watch.
As a senior, do you think that Nanuet Spirit Week has provided something that maybe others can't relate to in terms of high school excitement and experiences, and are you going to miss it?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's really unique for our school, and especially how intense it gets, and just the activities that we do. And I don't know if I'll miss it, but I'll definitely cherish the memories that I made.
And is there anything you want to say for people that are going to be participating in Spirit Week once you graduate?
Don't go crazy. It's a game.
Thank you. So what grade are you in?
I am a sophomore.
Were you surprised about the results of this Spirit Week?
No.
Can you elaborate on that?
Won against seniors.
What was that?
The seniors won, right?
The juniors won Spirit Week.
Juniors won.
Okay.
It's not surprising.
It brought me back to last month.
Oh my god, I miss it so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
The chaos, the yelling, the excitement, the adrenaline.
It's amazing.
So anyways, something really weird happened in Nanuet for Spirit Week. Juniors came in first place, followed by the seniors, followed by freshmen, followed by the sophomores.
Very different.
Unprecedented. So after Spirit Week, we had another pretty interesting thing. I think it was something pretty musical, if I do say so myself.
Yes, we had our spring musical, which was Pippin this year.
So Pippin is the story of a young man trying to find purpose in his life.
Me too.
Aren't we all? So let's talk more about the experience. It was directed by Mr. Carr, a first-timer in Nanuet, and he has a few things to say about it. So for starters, can you tell us about your previous experiences with teaching or theater, and just give us background on that to better know you?
Sure. My degree is in music education and vocal performance, and so as you can tell, I'm a bit spry. So this is my first full-time teaching job. I did a little bit of teaching in choruses before this, being a chorus teacher, and that's a very theatrical thing to do when you can really get into it, because you are coaching people on how to act and how to sing and act and all these things. But as a part of my degree being vocal performance, we also did a lot of studying in acting with our private teachers. I was in some operas at school, in some musical theater productions, and in lots of musical theater and theater stuff throughout high school and college. Did a little directing in that time as well. But now that it's over and it went really well, I feel really confident to say that Pippin was the first musical that I ever directed. And so that is my background. That is what I'm just a musical theater lover and a theater lover. And I feel I've picked some things up along the way.
So between doing a play and a musical, do you think you faced unique challenges for each? Did some overlap? And what was it like working with a group of teenagers as like one of the first things?
So there's definitely totally different challenges. Plays have so much less going on, so you're really just focusing on like, what does the set look like? And what are the people on the set doing? And that's like kind of it, right? You're not dealing with all these other things. Maybe there's some technical things you're dealing with. But what that also means is it's you and the group of actors and the group of crew that are doing it. So it's a smaller team of adults working on the play. And working with teenagers is honestly the best because teenagers, like, I feel, having come from being just a teenager, I remember you're like excited and you're engaged with learning about it, and that's so cool. When you start to become an adult, you have all these preconceived ideas about how things are going to go. Some adults do, but teenagers you don't get that with. So it's like becomes this very collaborative thing where people are bringing new knowledge that they're learning to the table and are excited to have a new experience, and that's awesome. The musical, same thing about working with teenagers. It's incredible. All that changes is there's like 5 more adults in the room at all times doing all kinds of different things because now we have music and we have dancing, and that adds these different elements that just, it's very fun to work on that kind of team because you get to see more sides of people. And working with teenagers in that respect, you suddenly get to add in not only what are people bringing to the table with their performances acting wise, but also singing, dancing, all these different things. I feel like you get to really kind of see full people come out in front of you. It's so cool.
How would you review your first experience? And then based on how your first experience was, do you think you'd change anything for next year? And then if so, in what areas do you think you'll change or like you'll reconsider things, if anything?
So my first experience of the year was like literally incredible. You can ask anyone. Obviously, like every creative project has bumps along the way and you have to figure out problems, but truly like the people who are doing theater at Nanuet, whether they're students, faculty members, parents who are helping out, are all so wonderful that like the process is so hard for it to be anything but really wonderful and incredible. Especially because you guys, students, but even more than the people in this room, right, have this community around it that's just so incredible to see form around an art form that like isn't like broadcast on every Sunday at 3 o'clock on television, right? It's this thing that happens right there in the room, and that's such a really cool thing. In terms of the things that I am thinking about for next year, it's really just about thinking how can we do works that feel different than the ones we did this year so that like everyone gets to experience a few different types of plays and a few different types of musicals. As well, I'm definitely thinking about how can I use like students more, because when kind of in the very first year you're just kind of learning how it works at this school and how it works kind of in general, depending on what you're doing. But I would like to start to kind of slowly figure out where we can shift, give kind of people some different responsibilities. And so perhaps that means that we're having our stage manager call a show more like happens in the professional world. Maybe that means that we're having like some kind of student directed scenes that I know that has happened in the past. These aren't like new ideas, but they will be things that I will incorporate slowly into what I'm doing. And really just thinking about how you keep the energy of the year alive, right? It has to be kind of fresh. It has to be kind of, it has to kind of feel like it's moving forward. And then the only other thing is snow days. I think I will try to be more planful about how many snow days we might have while we're rehearsing the musical, because those caught me off guard in a way I didn't expect to.
So the Nanuet Theater group has built a community that's way older than even us too. So what was it like you coming in and being like the new head of it?
Well, you'd think the answer to that question would be like really intimidating or like scary, and there are certainly parts of it that were, but the thing that is cool about the community that you guys have is it's very welcoming. Like you see, you have a bunch of students every year who just like get involved for the first time, not randomly, but they're like, I've never done this before, I just hear this is really awesome. And that's reflective of the idea that you're like a welcoming community of people. And I felt very similarly. now I also think what it did, that having this kind of traditional theater structure, what it just does is it like kept me on my toes. Like it did not, I knew, I think instinctively that like we needed to make things go well. We needed to have high expectations for each other, but also like I wasn't scared about setting those things because you guys are clearly a team, right? It's not this thing of, oh, well, one person will just do all the work and then run themselves ragged while everyone else just kind of like flutters everywhere. You know what I mean? It's very teamwork oriented because you have this tradition of building this community around it. And so truly, like, while it is scary, it's only scary because you don't want to change such a good thing. You know what I mean? You want to make sure you can do your own thing without taking away all the things that have been good about it for so long. And so that's the only thing that's scary about it. You know what I mean?
So, is there anything you'd like to add to somebody who is considering joining the shows, somebody who's considering watching the shows, or just anybody around the department in general?
So, one thing that I think every single person should see theater. Like, truly, like, if you've never seen live theater, like, I don't even know what your life is like, because it's such a different experience than anything else. Like, being someone who likes to see concerts, being someone who goes to sporting events. I mean, if you're from Philadelphia, like, you can't not go to a sporting event at some point. But, like, theater is so different because there's so many things happening at one time. It's all live. There's just something so magical about it. And even if you're not like a die-hard plays musical theater person, you like gotta see theater. So if you're a junior and you've never seen anything at Nanuet and you're like, I'm definitely not gonna be on stage or in crew, you better see one of our shows next year. If you're thinking about coming out to do theater, also 100% you should. There are so many different ways that you can do it. If you are thinking to yourself, like, I will never be put on the stage, there's so many ways that you can be involved with theater that aren't on the stage. Whether you're creating the set, whether you are working lights, whether you are doing costumes and hair and makeup, which all are these different skills that everyone has. Carpentry, hair and makeup skills, costuming skills, color skills, art skills. You can employ all that stuff. If you're a performer, you definitely need to be coming out to do these shows because you'll find a community of people who are all really invested in the same thing that you are. And I think just it's really incredible that such a large percentage of our school gets involved in this activity. Like it's pretty much like 10% of the school already is involved in this thing. And so you're gonna just get to meet a really awesome subsection of Nanuet. Regardless of how you are involved, you're gonna be meeting an awesome group of Nanuet people.
And lastly, by popular demand, what's the musical?
No further questions.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Carr. That was a lot of fun. Insightful.
Truly.
So, part of our faculty was also our friend Lenora. So let's hear what Lenora has to say about costuming and making the cast of Pippin look great.
Hi there, can you state what you do for
I'm Lenora Mezbov, and I am the costume designer for the show. I pull the costumes, make the costumes. I work with my crew of 4 to put costumes on the kids and make them pretty and do their makeup and design their makeup and hair as well.
Can you state what your biggest struggle was during the show with the costumes?
Having people remember to bring in the items they're supposed to bring from home.
Oh, okay.
Right, Shannon?
And what would you say is the one thing that you loved about doing costumes for Pippin?
It was just so fun. It was just so colorful and active, and everyone got to participate in the design this year. And I loved working with my crew. I was able to give them a lot of autonomy on this and let them put outfits together with me just supervising, which was nice. And I got new crew members too.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Miss Lenora.
Thanks, Lenora. Everyone looked great.
And finally, you might notice that we're somewhere pretty strange right now.
New library!
So here to tell us about our new library is somebody very important in the Nanuet School District.
Extremely important. We have Mr. Mahoney.
So to start out, can you just tell us who you are and what you do here?
Yes, Mike Mahoney, I'm principal at Nanuet High School. I've been here for 18 years, my 28th year in education, and I'm very proud to be principal of this school. And I'm proud today to introduce you guys to our new media center.
So where did the idea to renovate the more student-dominated casual area come from?
Very good. So a number of years ago, when this was the old media center, a number of students faculty members, administrators, and consultants had a day where we brainstormed 21st century schools and learning spaces, flexible learning spaces. And from that input, the school district coordinated with consultants on the outside, gathered information from students, teachers, and administrators, and used research in terms of developing what would work here in the Nanuet Senior High School to meet our flexible needs as we move towards collaborative learning in a flexible setting.
Do the students impact the design, or do you hope for the design to impact the students?
So that's a great question. Students were part of the planning committee, and so now the next phase will be to first open up the area, see how it's utilized by students. Mrs. Turner, as the media specialist and with obviously a background and a degree in this area, will help plan out the future and design. You see traditional books are still here, but there is a lot of technology integrated within the library itself, and the media center, I should say, itself. You know, as we take a tour around, you'll see the multi-purpose rooms, which are still somewhat under construction, but are almost finalized. And you'll see some of the breakout areas that we have here as well. Our goal is to watch how this lives and see how it evolves. Involve teachers in terms of the classrooms. We want this area to be used more than a media center traditionally would be used. We would use it, for example, for integrated classroom activities, where we may have you know, a topic that's being covered in two different domains, social studies and English as an example, where they could actually be working on literature that's historical based and sharing an area together, where students can work in small study groups and work on topics. Those walls and those breakout rooms are designed so students can use dry erase markers on them. So there's a lot of creativity that we're hoping to integrate into this area as we evolve as a school. All right, so you guys, we're at construction zone today, it looks like. Come on in.
Okay, so where are we standing right now?
Okay, so this is two sections of a three-section multi-purpose room. What you're seeing right now is we're mounting up a monitor in here. This is a temporary monitor that we have. This is set up right now. Last night we had a Board of Education meeting in here. Right behind you is where the public sat. You have in here movable walls, so we can separate this area. You'll see right there, there's a wall that is closed up. This entire area opens up into 3 rooms together. So a vision for this could be 3 separate classrooms going on at one time. It could also be a large conference area where we have a speaker come in during lunchtime and speak about a career. The monitors are here on both sides. There'll be monitors. There'll be a monitor up here as well. So we'll be able to do classroom-based presentations in here. So students will be able to use this area as well for their presentations. We'll be able to have meetings here. Community will be able to use this room as well. And as you can see, it's all accessed right off of the media center itself. So here we are outside the multi-purpose rooms. As I said, there are 3 of them. They start up here. And this is the room that we just came out of, where we had the meeting last night. And here's room number 3. You'll see the entrance to the media centers up here, and there's a little staging area over here. This is an area that we are going to watch evolve. It's a creative area. You know, for now we're going to have, you know, some furniture up here so students can relax. But ultimately, this will be an area that students can help design the use for. I've spoken with Mrs. Turner about it, and we're just going to see how this progresses over time. There are offices over here as well as storage. Here's the entrance to the actual media center itself, but what you see here is you see breakout rooms. These rooms are designed to allow meetings, small class meetings, small groups. If students are working with other students, they can utilize these areas. Currently, there's a few students having their lunch in here. Over here is a reference table as well as a circular table. And you'll see that we have traditional books. These books were brought in with the input of the teachers and department chairs within the school itself. So, for example, our business teacher, Mrs. Savara, she has many books that she recommends as resources for her students in Intro to Business and Career and Financial Management. And as a result of that, there's a section here just for that. And there's sections for other areas as well. Over here is a conference room that will be utilized again by staff and students. They'll be under the control of the main office, but if we have meetings that we need to have, they'll be able to occur in here. You'll see there are going to be electronic monitors that are going up onto the walls, and that's what those markings are right now. We're waiting for those to be put in, and they're being put in as we speak. Over here we have a very nice space where students are able to gather, just like the old Media Center. We want this to be a welcoming space, and you'll see right here we have a very welcoming area, and then outside of the place itself we could take a look and see where the future is going to go.
What has it been like managing a school while it's in construction? Has the process been more challenging than you had initially expected?
I think as with any construction, whether it be home improvement or construction in a school or a business, there are always going to be challenges that you didn't foresee. I must say, though, that I'm incredibly impressed with the staff and students, because this has been a challenge. If you look at it, we lost a major section of our cafeteria, as well as our media center. From July 1 up until now, we have not had a media center. So I'm incredibly impressed with the students and the staff that we've been able to manage without this space. The challenges have been in terms of logistics, movement throughout the building, safety and security. Those are always on our minds as number one and number two. And now obviously we're going to gain back this area. So my vision is that we are opening this area up very soon, hopefully within the next few days, and that it starts to evolve into what we want it to become, which is an area that's welcoming to students, that's engaging for students, somewhere they feel they can come to learn, research, and be together and share.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about the Media Center or the Social Heart?
Well, we're excited. When other schools come in to visit us, they're impressed with the appearance of our school. And that's something that is encouraging to see. We're also really happy with the respect that the students have shown to their area, because this is the students' school. And we feel that this area is going to really prepare students for college careers, because this is more reflective of what they'll see when they graduate from here and go off into the world of work or the world of post-secondary. And we're hoping that this enhances and encourages their experience and prepares them more for what they're moving into in the future.
Okay. And you mentioned that there are going to be things done to the outside area and the patio, as well as bathrooms.
Yes. So the next phase of this is the 2 bathrooms in the main hallway here are going to be refurbished, redone this summer. I believe State Ed is currently finalizing the plans, but I've been informed by central office that that's next on our list. And then we are hopeful that we'll have a patio setting out here at some point, and this area will be accessible during nice weather during the unit lunchtime, so students can also be outside and have some time to break in the day. That's why we have doors here that are going to give them access to that outside area. So that's hopefully in the plans too. I don't have a timeline on the outside yet, but hopefully this time next year we'll be seeing a lot more movement there.
All right, that was great. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahoney, for taking us on a walk of our new library. All right, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to keep up with news at Nanuet, stay tuned for next episode.
So, I was Natalie.
I was Sophia.
And we were
Nice News.